Tell them bring on the blitz. Tuning in my dogs don't miss. Fourth down the flick of the wrist. And we go for the wrist. Jumping and racing they fist. Recallers and Poppy and Rios. They bring on the blitz. Tuning in my dogs don't miss. Fourth down the flick of the wrist. And we go for the wrist. Jumping and racing they fist. Recallers and Poppy and Rios. They bring on the blitz.
Starting off with the intro immediately. Apparently, that's how I have it set up with StreamYard. Rios, how's it going, bud?
And normally this is my favorite time of year, but lately not so much.
Texans fans are going through it right now. I mean, a lot of news, breaking news today, though. Texans released CJ Gardner-Johnson. At first, there was like basically what's going on. There's no explanation what's going on, but you know, DJ Enemy has been from ESPN has been going on and just giving out more details. And man, what a turn of events for a guy that was drafted during the not drafted, excuse me, that was obtained on the offseason from the Eagles right after the championship run. And you know, he was one of those guys that had the ring and you know, and was supposed to be a difference maker in the defense. And this is kind of like similar to the almost like the Ed Reed situation. Remember that a couple years back? A few years back?
I was gonna bring that up too. Like, yeah, this is eerily similar. Both malcontents coming from the, you know, winning a Super Bowl, coming over here and getting cut pretty early into their Texans career for almost the same reasons.
Yeah. So the whole issue with CJ Gardner-Johnson, according to again, this is DJ Enemy, was complaints about his position, his role, wanting to blitz more in the defense, and even has to complain about a teammate's salary.
Yeah, one thing you don't do in professional sports is pocket watch your own teammate at that. That's just, you know, one of those unwritten rules, and I mean, that's crossing a line.
Yeah, I guess D'Amico Ryans and the Texans were just, you know, they just said, well, I guess not even looking out for an option for him or anything. It was a straight up release.
Yeah, I mean, also DJ Benny put out there that he had also put in like a trade request. I'm like, you're 3 weeks into the season. They essentially restructured your contract to give you that money as a signing bonus up front. Like, and you're going to demand a trade 3 weeks into the season. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think last week against when the Texans took the loss against the Bucks, I think he was interviewed and he said something. You know, they're going back to a drawing board because it's something he's not used to. Yeah, so I don't know. That it seems like it's you know, there was some situations there, and I guess you know the Texans just decided to let him go. It wasn't. I guess they didn't want to.
It wasn't just for the complaining, also schematically as well. DJ Benemy did a great job of putting a clip together where, yes, in yesterday's presser, Coach Ryans was asked, you know, about some of the miscommunication in the secondary, and he's like, "No, this is one of the things that got to get cleaned up." And DJ Benemy put a clip where there was clear miscommunication on CJ Gardner-Johnson's part, where he's almost essentially trying to go rogue a little bit on the defensive end, and he's completely was not guarding the right person, and it led to a lot of big plays from a team in Jacksonville that's just not known for being an explosive offense.
Yeah, it is it's something. I mean, honestly, that there were just plays that were just kind of like, I think when I watched we were kind of watching, texting each other back and forth. I mean, as we were watching the game, I mean, it was just really bad football overall. But before we get into that, this is from the DJ Enemy. It says during Houston's Week 1 matchup against Los Angeles Rams, quarterback Matthew Stafford threw a 13-yard touchdown to tight end Davis Allen, who ran a corner route into the end zone, which Gardner-Johnson was responsible for. Then Texans cornerback Kamari Lassiter tried to clean up the coverage bust, but it wasn't able to run down Allen, and of course, Houston lost the game 14-9. Week 2 against the Tampa Bay Bucks, quarterback Baker Mayfield threw an over route to wideout Ryan Miller for a 20-yard touchdown for the game's opening drive. The Texans were in cover 2, which requires Gardner-Johnson to cover the deep right half of the field. He instead jumped a 10-yard in breaking route from the Bucks wideout Sterling Shepard, exposing the deep half of the Miller scoring reception. Texans lost 20-19 on that one. I mean, I think those things added. I mean, just things adding up, really, if you think about it.
Seeing
caused all that.
It is, and again, it's eerily similar to the Ed Reed situation because it was kind of the same
Right.
thing almost, just not to the same extent as basically going rogue on defense. It's just being a nuisance in the locker room, which I think Coach Ryan is trying to send a message like, hey, you're not going to disrupt the harmony of the team. Like, if you're not bought into the culture, there's not a spot for it. It doesn't matter, regardless of how talented you are, how much you're making, this and that. Which I mean, on one aspect, it's a good message to send your team, like, hey, this you're not going to disrupt the culture. It doesn't matter who you are.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely a message. That's probably that's being sent out, to I guess you didn't buy into the culture or something, the culture of the team. All right, let's read some on communication on the secondary. I think this is the one you were talking about. And it says, when you see a big play that happens on our defense somewhere along the lines, there's a bust in communication. It all starts with the communication, and it hasn't been as crisp as it needs to be. So we have to play better on the defensive side. We got to communicate better, and we got to execute the defense better. So it's not been great. We see that. We have to make some adjustments there to make sure we get it corrected. Almost like a premonition of what was about of events to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a team full of young players like this, you want to have guys around that are going to be positive influences, not be kind of malcontents and just kind of putting bad vibes out there for these younger guys, because they feed off of that, because they haven't been in the league very long. Most of them are 21, 22 years old. Like, they're still kids essentially.
Yeah. So that was the breaking news of today, man. Just seeing out of nowhere during the midday, it was CJ Gardner-Johnson again, being released by the Houston Texans. We'll see where he lands. Maybe he goes back to the Eagles. You would never know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a place on the NFL roster for him, but which team is, especially with all the stuff that came out fairly quickly from the Texans media, like, we'll see where he lands. I have a friend who's a pretty close with the Eagles, and he doesn't think though Howie Roseman's going to resign him, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Injuries play a big part of this, but
they do. All right. So speaking of the Texans defense, that has honestly been one of the brighter spots. I mean, yes, there's been busting coverage and miscommunication, as D'Amico Ryan said, but overall, as if you're looking at the entire team, that's been the best part of the Texans. Starting off with the 0-3 record, which I think hasn't been. It's been a while since the Texans have had this type of record, this type of start to begin with.
yeah, I think.
Um,
And especially in today's NFL, if your defense is holding teams to under 20 points, you should be able to win ball
right.
games. But with the ineptitude of the offense, oh man, it is a tough watch. Like, normally when you see bad teams, like, you can get little glimmers of hope here and there that they'll turn it around. I have yet to see something that's going to inspire confidence moving forward with this offense.
Yeah, see, and I think from there, just to be on that safe side, right now CJ Stroud has 2 touchdowns. 3 interceptions, quarterback rating of 40.1 and 599 yards. That's CJ Stroud currently.
That is bottom 20 level quarterback player, just by the numbers.
Yeah.
By
I
everyone.
mean, no, I understand. It's crazy. In 3 weeks, that's been, the production. He had no touchdowns at all against the Rams. He had 1 touchdown against Tampa Bay, and he had 1 touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have. I mean, I gotta tell you. So going back to what I said earlier, it was downright bad football that was happening. I think I texted you at one point. It was like, you know what? Honestly, I think if the Jacksonville Jaguars had a much better offense, this would be almost like a huge victory. It would have been a huge victory as opposed to being that,
Lopsided. It would have
yeah,
been a lopsided victory for them.
yeah, it would have been a bigger victory. So, but it was just because, yes, I do believe the Texans defense didn't obviously held them down. But again, there was a lot of, I feel like Trevor Lawrence was helping out the Texans a little bit. All those drop passes to their receivers was just wild to me. Like, I don't understand why there's so many drop passes to the receivers in the Jacksonville Jaguars offense.
It was kind of surprising because, I mean, there was a lot of errant throws, but there
Yeah.
were some throws that were catchable, and especially with guys like Brian Thomas Jr., like, he was, like, on the cusp of being, like, the next big thing at wide receiver last
Yeah.
season, and this year, he's been bottom levels as far as production and just being able to hold on to the ball, which is, again, surprising because you didn't really see that from him at LSU. So it is a little bit of a shocking development, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, if we're gonna be talking about the offense, I mean, what have I honestly haven't seen anything impressive from offensive coordinator Nick Caley. I think we started off saying at the beginning when we started doing this, it was like, you know what? I think the Texans might be well off because I mean Nick Caley sounded confident. He sounded like he knew exactly what he was doing. And
And you
right
can
now,
tell
we just
get them.
haven't seen that been portrayed on the field. I mean, it's a lot of what it's like a lot of miscommunication that's happening on the offense. Like nobody's together. The switching on and off of the offensive line continues, and that's the woes that you saw last season as well. That just kind of moving around the pieces, and then um, you know, I don't know. It's like it's almost like what has happened to the Texans offense? What's going on? How does it get better? Things like that. I mean, I haven't seen I can't think of a single play. It's just so stagnant. Like there's nothing
Word.
that you are wondering. And yes, honestly, this past game, I thought, okay, now that you have Christian Kirk coming back, opening up the slot position, maybe the Texans offense is gonna have some plays that the fans haven't seen before yet, right? Or
Moving
haven't
the
seen
ball
or
down.
something. Nothing. And you would think Christian Kirk's homecoming, right? Back against the Jacksonville Jaguars, his
A little
former
bit of
team.
revenge. Nah.
Like an revenge game. Like nothing. I think he had just a few targets on him, and that was about it. Like I didn't see anything. I haven't seen anything as of late that has impressed me from Nick Caley. Christian Kirk had 8 catches, 8 targets. 3 of those were actual catches for 25 yards.
Mm. Well, I think part of the issue is a lot of people were assuming that, Nick Haley coming from the Rams, he would install the McVay offense, which we
Right.
have seen has been one of the higher scoring, higher yardage, offenses in the past few seasons. And last week against the Bucks, their coach said, like, because he's played against two of the people from the McVay tree. The first one ran the McVay offense, but Nick Haley was running more of the Patriots offense, which time and time again has been proven to not work without Tom Brady. It's Bill Belichick couldn't succeed without Brady. That offense couldn't succeed without Brady, and we saw it on display last week against Tampa Bay and this past game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The inability to move the ball down the field, to continue to move the chains, to show some type of creativity in the offensive end. It's just like you said, bad, stagnant football.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
uninspiring, and it's tough to get people to root for that, because like people are going to pay their hard-earned money to watch that. Like better off watching paint dry or something.
yeah, at this point it's almost like watching like it's confusing because yes, you do see a lot of Patriots offense, and then it's like almost trying to force the West
Like,
Coast offense. I'm like, what? Like it's very confusing at some point. It's like and it's like, wait, it looks like you're implementing the Patriots offense, but at the same time you're trying to implement the McVay offense here and there, but not too much. And I'm just kind of concerned. I'm like, what's happening?
there's no real identity, and like you brought up a perfect point earlier about the lack of communication on that last play when Stroud threw that interception. You see that your rookie left tackle had a rough day at the office against Hines Ward Allen, and you decide to leave him on an island on a crucial 3rd and 1 in the 2-minute drill. Logic would say pick up the quick first down, live to fight another 4 downs. No, you do a long developing play. You leave your rookie left tackle on an island by himself, clearly gets beat. The ball is tipped, interception, game over. Like, well, it's just mind boggling just watching you like, I could do this. Like, I'll do it for half the money.
I mean, yeah, with the offensive line, I mean, there's a quote that D'Amico Ryan said on his presser, and it says, "If the team will continue to rotate the guards on the offensive line," that was that was one of the things that we brought up. But we rotated the guards in the game on Sunday because we felt like that's what we wanted to do, to give Juice Scruggs a chance to get in there. Juice did a really nice job with some of the reps that was given to him. I will say that I think in the PFF rated Juice kind of high on that one too. So
yeah, I think the interior wasn't the problem. The problem was the tackles. They were just unable to handle just a simple 4-man rush. Even the broadcasters like, if you can't defend a simple 4-man rush in the NFL, you are not going to succeed as an offense. Their exact words. And it's pretty telling because, one of the commenters, was a former NFL player, come on, guys. Like, it's a simple 4-man rush. Nothing exotic, nothing super creative, just a simple 4-man rush, and you're getting beat easily.
Yeah, I'm looking at the PFF ratings, and Ariante Arcery and Tomlinson were like rated in the 40s. Center Andrews was 55, and then finally you got Ingram, Howard, 75 and 67. CJ Stroud got a 64 rating. Nick Chubb got a 61.3. I don't know. It's just bad football overall. I mean,
And
let's talk about CJ Stroud. It's a subject that most people, most Texans fans are kind of looking into. I mean, what's going on? Is this a continuation of last year's
struggles?
Maybe perhaps lack of confidence? What's going on with CJ Stroud?
I mean, you can kind of see it in the body language on the sideline. Like beginning of last season, he was more enigmatic. Now it's almost like he's dejected at times, and you can see the frustration, and you can understand, being frustrated because at the same time, you come into the season with high expectations, and you have completely not delivered on any aspect of those. But at the same time, you got to have a little bit of accountability as well. After the game, the only person that really took accountability was Ursery.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to be better. I got to do better. Like, he took accountability for, getting beat. And this is coming from a rookie left tackle. Like, you didn't hear this type of accountability from the quarterback, the offensive coordinator, the head coach. I'm like, guys, you can't have the 22-year-old being the one to stick up and, hold himself accountable.
Yeah. No, 100%. Let's see. I mean, how much of it do you think it's on CJ? How much of it do you think it's on offensive coordinator Nick Caley? It's like a balance, and I think it's a mixture of both. I think lack of creativity. Sounds familiar. Lack of creativity. We talked about that last season. Lack of creativity on the offensive side, offensive scheme, on the schematics of it. I mean, your your quarterback, excuse me, that had a phenomenal rookie year and has now been just kind of downgraded to this. Don't get me wrong. It's almost like, you give him the offensive line, okay, but that's been a consistent issue for the last 2 seasons. Like, where do you move on from that? Is it how do you? What would you think about like growing as a quarterback as opposed to last season? What could have been better? And now it just seems like another regression, even more than what last season was about.
And it starts honestly from the top.
Yeah,
they go into the draft. Biggest need is offensive line. You pass on those. One of them was playing for the Lions, and you saw what that guy was doing yesterday. Texas could have drafted him, but they passed on him and went with Higgins. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That means, great, we're going to utilize our rookie wide receiver. Nope. And then we're going to get the other guy from Iowa State. Maybe we utilize him a little bit. This week they utilized him a little bit more, Jalen Noel, but could have did that week 1. Like, you see how dynamic he is on the punt returns. Maybe try to find a way to incorporate the ball into his hands. You see how dynamic he is. He's 4.3 speed. Like, he could be a playmaker if you get creative, but they aren't doing that. And then they bargain shop for offensive line, and we shouldn't be too surprised at the results. They were playing like an offensive line that was just put together at the last minute, and the PFF grades show that. It's not the be-all, tell-all as far as, how they perform, but it's pretty telling when most of those guys do not have passing grades, and your quarterback is one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah. This was another quote by head coach D'Amico Ryans. This is kind of relates to what we were talking about a little earlier. This was on if he feels confident dealing with the same issues as last year now that he has faced them before. So his response was, for me right now with our team, when you go through each team, no matter what year it is, each team has its own. it's faced with its own adversity and its own and different issues that arise. So for me, as a head coach, it's a matter of, hey, different set of problems, different set of challenges. I'm up for it. That's why I'm here. That's how we attack it. We'll get at it. We'll get it all corrected, and we'll get this thing going in the right direction. I don't compare year to year for me. I say this is a different year. 2023, completely different team. 2024, completely different team. We're here. We have different issues here in 2025, but we go and we attack it the right way. We attack it with the right attitude, and we're going to get this thing rolling in the right direction.
You know what that gives me shades of?
Mm.
Bill O'Brien. I just got to coach better.
Got to coach better. It's on me. Oh, was it Gary Kubiak used to say the same thing? That's on me. That's on me. I'm like, all right. How many?
Like, the first couple of times you hear, cool, but when you hear multiple years in a row, like, like
it's a trend. It becomes a trend. It's on me. It's on me. Or I think this season it's been close. It's been close.
And it's funny seeing people's reactions to that. People are like, close to what? They were 0-4 in the red zone. 0 for 4.
Oh yeah, I think it's the worst offense in the red zone in the league.
Yeah, the absolute worst. They've been in the red zone 4 times.
Yeah,
0 points. Not even touchdowns. 0 points. Like, you are not going to succeed as an NFL franchise if you can't score in the red zone. You can't rely on, Kaimi Fairbairn kicking 50-yard field goals, 6 times a game.
Yeah.
It's just not going to cut it.
It's just not going to cut it. Now, Kaimi Fairbairn, you got to start scoring touchdowns. The offense has to be creative. I mean, it's the whole reason why it's the whole reason why you got rid of Bobby Slowick for the offense to improve, but it hasn't been the case. Let's just be honest. It hasn't been the case. It's almost it's a disservice really to the defense defensive players like Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., who have been just phenomenal. I have seen a bit of aggression from Kalen Bullock, which is hard to say because last season he was one of those guys that that you could see that was really all in. Jalen Petrie, I feel like it's the same really. He has a hit or miss. He has some great plays, then he has some not so great plays. Kamari Lassiter, I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen plays made by Lassiter, but then it's almost like sometimes it's like it's kind of like hit or miss.
He giveth and he taketh away.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have guys like Henry To'oTo'o. What has happened to Henry To'oTo'o?
My question is, he has been consistently one of the worst performers on the defense, one of the worst tacklers on the defense. He's continuously getting the majority of the snap at the linebacker position. Like, do they not trust EJ Speed or Christian Harris? Because normally when we saw To'oTo'o out there, it was because of the injuries. But it's like he's getting starter reps, but he's been consistently the worst performer on the defense, not just to the eye test, but the PFF grades as well. I'm like, what are we doing?
He's like in the 30s. Christian Harris though, like same thing. Like I get the injuries have kind of slowed him down a bit last season, and then he came back towards the end of last season. I get it, growing pains, right? But then 3 games into this season, and it still hasn't. I have not seen anything stellar from Christian Harris. I mean, if anything, he's got penalties here and there that kind of like ridiculous penalties at some point, and then it's just like what's happening. So I don't know. It's wild to see. I mean, Aziz Al-Shire, he's been playing pretty decently. I mean, last game he played like a man possessed against Jacksonville, and rightfully so after everything that happened last season with him. So there's that, and then Mario Edwards had a pretty low grade also.
He was getting beat pretty consistently, and letting the running back get past him. They didn't give up a ton of yards on the ground, but he wasn't able to be a disruptive force in the run game or causing any type of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Outside of Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson, there wasn't too much pressure on Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Yeah, time to throw. He was just wildly inaccurate, and he had receivers just dropping easy balls too.
Yeah, I think that now with CJ, I think Big Sarge put up a good point. Now with CJ Gardner-Johnson gone, I think it opens up once Jalen Smith comes back from the IR. You're going to see the rookie get more reps. I mean, he was one of those guys that was a ball hawk during training camp anyway. So maybe that may be the silver lining of it. I mean, you can't obviously it's a rookie. You can't really compare him to a guy like CJ Gardner-Johnson. But I mean, at this point, if if CJ Gardner-Johnson was bringing in, not buying into the culture or whatever, and then kind of not being a good, if that's the case that, with the reports or saying that it's just being doing all that stuff in the locker room. I mean, maybe that is a silver lining that you give reps to Jalen Smith once he returns. Then you got Jimmy Ward and the whole situation that most likely will come back because I think he got dismissed if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was dismissed, and now they just have to wait and see if he's removed from the non-exempt list. And if he is, they should be able to activate him.
Yeah, and Jimmy Ward will be back there, and the safety spot is just a concern, and hopefully it's just a big concern if in the defense. Derek Stingley, I think he got hurt and he was out for a good part of the game for the rest of the game. I think after he got hurt with his rib injury.
Well, no, I think the announcers brought up a good point. The Jacksonville Jaguars didn't have a type of receiver where they needed Stingley out there to be like a shadow, essentially. Like they didn't have a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson. Like the announcers brought up the point, like they were the Jaguars are hoping that Brian Thomas Jr. will be that type of level receiver, but he just has not been. And except for that last play towards the end of the game, he was a non-factor for the most of the afternoon.
He got shut down. So but yeah, that's having Derek Stingley out there. I mean, you saw him one-on-one with Mike Evans last game. That was a matchup that was actually pretty decent to watch. Mike Evans versus
3 catches for 39 yards. Like
it was like it was back and forth. It was a pretty good contest, just back and forth. Mike Evans still the guy. Mike Evans still, he could be 48 years old. He's still the guy.
But the whole guy like Mike Evans to just 3 catches for 39 yards. You did your job as a corner. You did your job.
100%. Yeah, it's been
watching this team has a defensive mind, the coach having this many mental errors, this many penalties, just
the discipline,
the missed
what's going on, the penalties.
It's just I've tweeted out a few times. This is one of the most undisciplined football teams I have seen in quite a long time, and you just don't really see that. You see that more from teams that have first-time head coaches with like little to no experience, but a guy like D'Amico who's been around, who is known as being a tough-minded coach, very disciplined, and see his both sides of the ball just being completely undisciplined and just shooting themselves in the foot and just snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Essentially, it's mind-boggling to see, honestly.
And it's funny because those last 3 games, there's been things that happen, like the cause them, like it's if it's week 1, the Dara Wundawale fumble, week 2, To'o's missed tackle on 4th down that allowed Baker Mayfield to get that crucial first down that allowed them to win, essentially. And then finally week 3 against the Jaguars, Nico Collins' fumble. That was crazy.
Not just that, and then the miscommunication, having Ursary go one-on-one with Hines Allen. Like, guys, he's been wrecking that entire offensive line the entire afternoon, and you have him one-on-one on an island with the rookie who has had one of the worst days of his football career. I'm like, what are we doing out there?
Let me read you a tweet from Landry Locker. He said, "I thought Caley's time with Sean McVay would show a little more in the offense and did during camp. And it did during camp. Honestly, we saw some things in camp that was okay.
Training camp and preseason too. Pretty vanilla. It was a bit different than what we saw last season.
Right. And then it says, looks like a mirror image of stale Bill O'Brien and Tim Kelly's at this point."
What's great is someone actually have put out a highlight of one of the plays from the O'Brien Kelly days.
Yeah,
which was similar to what the Lions did yesterday with Amon-Ra threw that touchdown to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, the
Texans ran something similar when they played the Patriots. I'm like, I've seen that play before.
Yeah,
and then seeing someone tweet, I'm like, oh, wow. And it's wild to think, as much as people complain about that offensive duo, they had some pretty high scoring offenses.
Yeah.
I think at one point they were averaging over 30 points a game for a good stretch. And that duo had the Texans that were 0-3. They won like what was it, 8, 9 straight games?
Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah,
It's
but all right, so let's really quick. I mean, it's just so much you can talk about with the Texans right now that it's just it's who would have thought that Daniel Jones, yes, there was one particular analyst that everybody called crazy that put the Colts at the very top, and it looks like it's coming true. Daniel Jones is a revitalized man now with the Colts instead of the Giants. And then now you see the Giants, they just I think, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they just bench Russell Wilson, and now it's going to be Dart.
Jackson season.
Yeah,
Which,
starting
as a person that has Malik Neighbors in fantasy football, thank you, Giants, because if I have one more week of Malik Neighbors getting one catch, that'd have been my 13th reason. I'm like, this is one of the best receivers in the game, and he gets one catch, one. In the game, you were down the entire time. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, but nonetheless, yeah. So it looks like Daniel Jones. It looks like that's at this point. It just looks like the AFC South. It looks like the Colts are just going to end up being the AFC. Now, can the Texans still catch up? I mean, it's going to be hard to turn it around.
But I think we're going to have to sweep the Colts and just kind of hope that Daniel Jones turns into the Daniel Jones we've seen of years past. But
yeah,
the way he's playing right now, I think some people have him as like an MVP candidate. If you would have told me Daniel Jones would be an MVP candidate in the year of our Lord 2025, I would have called you insane.
Yeah, and then of course Jonathan Taylor's going to be Jonathan Taylor. He's been consistently a phenomenal running back, so that's a given. I mean, their defense has been okay.
He turns into Tecmo Bo Jackson when he plays Houston. So
right, exactly. So I mean, I think it's odd to say, but they've been a pretty, they've been putting on performances. That being said, I mean, if you look at the Colts schedule, I mean, they have faced off against. Sorry, one second. I think they've only faced off against correct me if I'm wrong here. Okay, there it is. The Miami Dolphins. They won 33-8. So there's that. The Broncos. It was a 1-point difference, 28-29. Then now against the Titans. So have they really seen full competition?
No.
That's another thing that you have to consider. Now they are going off again this Sunday against the Rams. So that's going to I think that's going to be like a measuring stick for the Colts and I think for the rest of the AFC South to see, okay, are the Colts for real? Is Daniel Jones for real? Because this Rams team is a pretty good team. So I think they're going to see how they measure up against a team like the Rams, and then I think from there you can be like, okay, maybe the Colts are for real if they end up defeating the Rams, and if not, then it's back to the whole AFC South is kind of anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, if they lose and if Houston's able to win, that puts them not out of complete reach of being able to catch up in the AFC South.
Yeah.
Now if they lose and Jacksonville wins,
it makes it a little tough. I still don't think based on what I saw last weekend against the Texans, how it was close and how just the drops of Jacksonville. I still don't think this Jacksonville Jaguars team is a top team by any means. I think if overall, if the Texans continue to do what they're doing, I could see this division going for the Colts, then Jacksonville, then the Texans, then the Titans.
I think Houston could probably turn it around. I know we've been pretty pessimistic,
right?
But playing devil's advocate here, I just a team with this much talent, they're going to figure it out.
They have talent. That's a given, and they should figure it out. I mean, I don't want to hear it's just close. I don't want to hear that.
We need to see results.
Yeah,
but a team like Jackson, I just don't trust that team at all. And I've been saying that for years. And
Jacksonville, I don't either.
And like CBS put up this graphic where they show how much money Trevor Lawrence is making and showing his level of production based on that. Like he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks, but one of the lowest performing. And
right,
at some point, the excuses have to stop.
right.
And
No,
I think
I agree. I mean, it was evident based on the against the Texans. Texans do have a solid defense. I'll give them that any day of the week. They have I dare I say pretty elite defense, right? Maybe not as high as what we originally got,
yeah.
but still pretty much up there. It's a top 10 for sure. But nonetheless, I mean, for Trevor Lawrence to miss so many of his receivers or the drops, you can blame. I don't know. You can put it on Trevor. You can put it on the receivers, but also, I mean, Trevor got pressured a lot as well against the Texans. So, and you saw some of the results. I mean, honestly, it was just a lot of bad football this past weekend. It was just bad football.
Anyone that watches that game deserves financial compensation because that was, I could think of a million better things to do with my Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it was rough. But all right, let's go. Speaking of rough, let's talk about this upcoming weekend, the Texans versus the Titans.
According to Vegas, they're 7-point favorites. I sincerely doubt either team scores 7 points.
Man, it's tough. Look, here's the thing though. With the Titans, Brian Callahan, that's a lot.
That seat is on fire right now.
That is whew, that is as much on fire as your hat right there, Rios, by the way. Yeah.
I think if Houston blows them out, this man is going to be on Indeed looking for a job by halftime. Because it's when your job is to call the plays and they have the assistant doing it for you, like,
yeah. I think he ended off the play calling duties to his quarterback coach, Bo Hertigree, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Against the Texans.
One of our buddies, Sam, he's like big Titans guy, and he was like, this might be the weekend where where they make the decision to move on from him. And
hot seat for sure. 100%. That is a coaching position that is definitely on a hot seat. I think I was asked at one point, is DeMeco? I was like, no, DeMeco's not on the hot seat. I don't see it. Not at all. I think there's still a lot of things that they can do. I think DeMeco's he's looking for not for perfection, but for a team that can lead him to the playoffs. He's done it two years in a row.
Yeah. I think their situations is different than the Titans because he's been there before.
Correct.
And they're getting blown out. It's been a lot of ineptitude on offense, but their defense has been keeping them in games where if you just have a passable offense,
right,
you're 3-0.
Yeah. I think with the Titans organization right now, I mean, they're just such a young team. I mean, Cam Ward, they got so many pieces. Can they eventually do some damage? Of course, but it's just going to take some time and probably, better coaching at this point. But honestly, it's I don't think the Titans are going to do much damage. So, I would say that I take the Texans to beat the Titans this weekend. I could see that, but for that reason, I think after the Texas release, CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think there is going to be probably a new attitude, a new tone that is set by by DeMeco and the organization. So I'm looking to see how they do it, and what a better way to do it than against a team that's also that has the same record as you, a team that that isn't very stable. Yes, the Texans aren't very stable either, but I think this is a team that you should be able to beat if you're the Texans.
I mean, a lot of people saw Jacksonville as a get-right game for Houston, and for the most part, the last several years it has been. I mean, they showed the numbers for CJ and for Nico Collins. Nico Collins is averaging almost 130 yards against the Jaguars. He had a pretty decent game, but, I mean, that fumble was pretty costly. But he could have had a phenomenal day without that fumble because he probably scores on that play. So this game, I think, I don't like using the words must win in week 4 of the NFL season, but for Houston, this is definitely a must win game. You cannot go 0-4. It's just no team in NFL history has come back from the 0-4 hole to make the playoffs. And to drop another game in the division, if they have any aspirations of making the postseason or even possibly clinching a division title, you can't go 0-4. So I expect them to come out with a sense of urgency and try to put that game away and make a statement. Yeah. Hey, you know what? We know the first 3 weeks weren't great, but this is who we are as a football team, and this is going to be our identity moving forward.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right, so a little bit off of the NFL now. I do want to move on a little bit of coaching to college football real quick. So this was the Heisman Power Rankings that were released by College Football Report yesterday. And this is crazy. You ready? It's a pretty wild stat. As you know, these are the rankings again from College Football Report. For the Heisman, Joey Aguilar, quarterback, Tennessee, number 10.
No, okay.
Tommy Castellanos, Florida State, number 9. Diego Pavia, number 8. Notice a trend?
Guys that use Goya.
I mean, it's just like the Latino representation in college football is insane right now. Like
I've been watching college football for 30 plus years, and
brother,
you don't really see it at all.
Yeah. Of course, you got Marcel Reed, which is well deserved. Marcel Reed has changed completely the Texas A&M program since he stepped in. Dante Moore from Oregon as well. He's up there. Gunnar Stockton from Georgia. Carson Beck from Miami. Jaden Mayava from USC, and then we got John Matier from Oklahoma, and Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, excuse me, Hoosier. So I can't think of last time when we had when there was that many Latinos in college football, especially running up for a Heisman,
or even just one in the top 10.
It's insane. So this is a proud moment for especially on Hispanic Heritage Month.
I guess Mark Sanchez would be like the only one that from recent memory that comes to mind. But other than that, like
yeah. But hey, man, it's a difference maker. So just want to throw that out there. I think this is amazing. Just a quick update on that one. Fernando Mendoza, man, that team was one of the lowest teams out there in Indiana, and then Fernando Mendoza transfers over. They get new coaching and staff like that, and then guess what? Indiana is now like one of the top teams in college football right now. So kudos to them. Tommy Castellanos went over to from college and transferred over to FSU. Has turned that program around as well. Diego Pavia, he had some issues on the offseason based off of the being able to come back one more year. And he came back and now he's killing it again. And Joey Aguilar transferring over to the Vols in Tennessee and just kind of wrecking shop over there too. So it's awesome to see those guys represent and show out over there as well. So good stuff to that. Speaking of college football, I can't if we're local, we can't not talk about the U of H Cougars. Just a phenomenal performances. They're undefeated. Yes, they just had a bye week, but well deserved. They'll be back out. One of the games that they're really promoting that is going to go on prime time is October 4th against Texas Tech. The Cougs are going to be wearing their Houston blue, is what they're calling it, uniforms. When they look phenomenal in those uniforms, by the way.
They remind me of another team.
Yeah, but hey, they're calling it Houston blue, and rightfully so. Right here. Yeah, and so honestly, it's a really nice uniform. So I hope to see everybody out there at the U of H game wearing that blue, representing the blue, because you're going to go against the Texas Tech Raiders. So one of the times where you're not supposed to wear red if you're a Cougar.
Yeah, as an alumni, I'm gonna try to make it out there. I work Saturdays, but I might see if I can, sneak out of work.
Hey, 6 p.m. on ESPN. October 4th, so that's going to be a good game. The Cougars' defense have been phenomenal as well, and they've been killing it. So I think it's going to be very exciting to go watch them. Man, just what a difference maker Wayman has been since he came over from Texas A&M. Is ignited a spark on the Cougars offense, along with Coach Willie Fritz, who's just been phenomenal. Changing the entire organization around there as well. So lots of positive things to watch in college football, to be honest. So maybe something that NFL teams can learn from, So this is a good thing. Yeah, man.
No, it's funny. A friend of mine's on something I posted on Facebook. Was like, well, we still got college football. I'm like, yeah, college football has been a highlight so far.
Yeah, 100%.
The NFL, it's been a wild season if you think about it.
It has.
Like teams you don't think were going to be very good are undefeated, and teams that you thought were going to be great are winless.
Yeah, 100%.
And
All right. Well,
guys like Derrick Henry fumbled a game away, not once, twice in 3 weeks. It's
look, Nico Collins fumbling the ball too. Like that is something rare. You know, I think the Texans had that game if that hadn't happened.
I mean, I can't remember the last time a team went into Baltimore and just punched them in the mouth like that.
Hey, the Detroit Lions are serious, man. That's a team.
They're showing that they can win without Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, man. Well, that's going to be it for us this week. Join us next week when in the aftermath of the Texans versus Titans game for week 4. We'll see what happens, and let's see if the Texans offense is able to get over that hump. Maybe this has just been an illusion, and this is something that that is fixable. Let's see how close they actually are, and see if they can actually pull it through and get that W.
Or we see a scoreline of 2-0 is just a safety.
It's just a safety. That's the only thing that happened that game.
Oh man, I think the Twitter will be on fire if that's the final score for that game.
Agreed.
All
right, guys, that's gonna be it. See y'all next week. Peace.
Tell them bring on the blitz. 20 number dogs don't miss. 4th down and flick of the wrist, and we go for the wrist. Jumping and racing they fist. Regardless they popping.